Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside Vietnam. Today's story is about a man named Clyde, 65 years old, from Portland, Oregon, spent most of his life working the steel mills. He came to Vietnam 10 years ago carrying more than just luggage. He was carrying grief, loneliness, and a life savings he thought might buy him a second chance at feeling like he mattered. What happened next taught him lessons about love, money, and the difference between someone who needs you and someone who needs what you have. This one's going to stick with you. Here's his story, in his own words. My name's Clyde. I'm not the kind of guy who does interviews or tells stories, but I figure if what happened to me can help somebody else not make the same mistakes, then maybe it's worth talking about. I worked steel for 35 years. Good, honest work. The kind where you clock in before the sun comes up, where your hands are never really clean, where you know every guy on your crew well enough to trust them with your life when you're working 40 feet up. I met Linda when I was 24. She was a secretary at the mill office. We bought a house in Beaverton, raised 2 kids. Sarah went to Seattle for college, never came back. Michael made it all the way to Denver. That's how it goes. You raise them to leave. The work was hard, but it was good. There's something about building things, you know? Making something solid that'll be there long after you're gone. The mill was my life. The guys there, they were my brothers. We'd hit the bar after shift, talk shit, laugh about nothing. I thought that's how it would always be. Then Linda got diagnosed. MS. She was 47. The doctor said it like he was reading off a grocery list, like it was just another Tuesday. Multiple sclerosis. I didn't even really know what that meant at first. It's a slow thing, MS. That's what makes it hard. It's not like cancer where you fight it, and either you win or you don't. It's more like watching someone you love disappear one piece at a time. First, it was numbness in her hands. Then trouble walking. Then the wheelchair. Then she couldn't feed herself. Couldn't go to the bathroom alone. Couldn't do anything without me. I became her full-time caretaker. That's what they call it, caregiver. I called it my life. I learned how to do everything. How to lift her out of bed without hurting her back. How to manage 8 different medications. How to work the feeding tube when she couldn't swallow anymore. We had a hospital bed set up in the living room because she couldn't make it upstairs. The guys from the mill stopped coming by after the first year. I don't blame them. Nobody knows what to say. Our friends, Linda's friends from church, they'd visit at first, bring casseroles, say they were praying. Then the visits got less frequent. Then they stopped. People don't know how to be around that kind of slow dying. It makes them uncomfortable. So it was just me and Linda for 8 years. I slept in a chair next to her bed because I needed to be able to hear if she needed something in the night. I'd wake up 5, 6 times to turn her so she wouldn't get bed sores. I'd talk to her even after she couldn't talk back. Tell her about my day, about what was on TV, about nothing. The kids came when they could. Holidays mostly. But they had their own lives, their own families. I get it. You can't put your life on hold forever. Linda died in March 2014, pneumonia, finally. The doctor said her body just gave up. I held her hand when she went. The hospice nurse said I did a good job, that I'd given Linda a beautiful death. I didn't know what the hell that meant. The funeral was on a Thursday. Sarah and Michael came in on Wednesday, left on Saturday. They asked if I wanted to come stay with one of them for a while. I said no. They had good intentions, but I could see the relief in their eyes when I said it. After they left, I sat in that house alone. Every room felt like a museum. The hospital bed was still in the living room. Her wheelchair was still by the door. Medication bottles still lined the bathroom counter. The whole place smelled like disinfectant and that weird sweet smell sick people have. I couldn't sleep in our bedroom. Couldn't watch TV in the living room. Couldn't do anything. I'd just sit at the kitchen table and watch the clock. I realized I didn't know how to be anything except Linda's caretaker. That's all I'd been for 8 years. Take away the caregiving, and there was just nothing left. I was 55 years old and I felt 100. My back hurt all the time from years of lifting. My hands had that permanent ache from the mill work, and I had no idea what to do with myself. Jerry from the mill had retired to Thailand a few years back. He kept posting photos on Facebook beaches, cheap beer, him grinning with a Thai woman young enough to be his daughter. I thought it looked kind of pathetic, if I'm being honest. But then Jerry switched to Vietnam, and the photos changed, started looking more real somehow. Normal life stuff. Him at a cafe, him on a motorbike. He'd comment about how far his pension went, how the people were friendly, how the weather was good. One night, I'm sitting in the kitchen at 2 a.m., can't sleep, scrolling through Jerry's photos, and I just thought, why not? I wasn't running toward anything. I want to be clear about that. I wasn't chasing some fantasy. I was just running from the silence, from that empty house, from a life that felt like it was already over. I called a realtor the next week, house sold in a month for $165,000. After paying off what little was left on the mortgage and settling Linda's medical bills, I had about $105,000, more money than I'd ever had at once in my life. I bought a one-way ticket to Ho Chi Minh City, packed 2 duffel bags, mostly t-shirts and jeans, some photos of Linda and the kids, not much else. I didn't tell Sarah and Michael until a week before I left. They thought I was having some kind of breakdown. Maybe I was. The guy sitting next to me on the plane asked if I was going on vacation. I told him I was moving there. He looked at me like I was crazy. Maybe I was that too. I wasn't running towards something. I was running from the silence. I landed at Tan Sinanet Airport in Ho Chi Minh City on a Tuesday afternoon in March 2015. The second I stepped off that plane, the heat hit me like opening an oven door. I'd lived in Portland my whole life. I thought I knew what humid was. I didn't know shit. The airport was chaos. People everywhere. Announcements in Vietnamese I couldn't understand. Families crowded around the baggage claim. I grabbed my 2 duffel bags and followed the crowd toward customs. The officer looked at my passport, looked at me, stamped it without a word. Just like that, I was in Vietnam. Getting a taxi was the first challenge. Guys kept grabbing at my bags, shouting numbers at me. I had no idea what was a fair price. I just picked one and got in. The driver spoke maybe 10 words of English. I showed him the address of a guest house I'd found online. He nodded, pulled out into traffic, and I swear to God I thought I was going to die in the first 5 minutes. Motorbikes everywhere. Hundreds of them, weaving between cars. 3 people on one bike, whole families, dad driving, mom on the back holding a baby, kids squeezed in the middle. Nobody wearing helmets, horns constant, just non-stop honking. The driver would edge into an intersection, and motorbikes would flow around us like water. No lanes, no rules I could see. Just organized chaos. The smell hit me through the open window. Street food cooking, exhaust fumes, something sweet I couldn't identify. Garbage, incense. All of it mixed together. We drove past entire streets of shops selling the same thing. One street all motorbike parts, another all fabric, another all shoes. People sitting on tiny plastic stools on the sidewalk eating noodles. Buildings stacked tight together. Wires hanging everywhere like spider webs. The driver dropped me at a guest house near Phum Ung Wa Wo. Cost me 400,000 dong for the ride. I had no idea if that was good or bad. Later, I found out it should have been 150,000. First of many times I got ripped off. The guest house was fine. Small room, hard bed, fan that rattled, shared bathroom down the hall. Cost about $12 a night. The owner spoke decent English, told me I couldn't stay more than a week because of regulations. I needed to find an apartment. That first week was rough. I'd walk out of the guest house and just be overwhelmed. The heat, the noise, the language barrier. I'd try to order food and point at things, hoping for the best. Got a bowl of something that looked like soup, with mystery meat in it. Ate it because I was hungry. Spent the next day on the toilet. I was too scared to venture far, so I lived on instant noodles from the little shop across the street. The woman there would smile and say words I didn't understand. I'd just point and hand her money. She'd give me change. I had no idea if it was right. I found an apartment through the guest house owner. Small studio 3 blocks away, $350 a month, furnished with a bed, a table, 2 chairs, and a little kitchen area with a hot plate. The bathroom was just a toilet and a shower head on the wall. Everything got wet when you showered. But it was mine. I paid 3 months up front, cash. By the end of that first week, I was seriously questioning my decision. I couldn't communicate, couldn't order food, didn't know how anything worked. I'd sit in my apartment at night, sweating, listening to karaoke bleeding through the walls from somewhere, and think about that silent house in Beaverton. At least there I knew how to exist. But I stuck it out. Didn't have much choice. The house was sold. My kids thought I'd lost my mind. Going back meant admitting they were right. The second week, I started walking more. There was a small park nearby where old Vietnamese men played checkers. I'd sit on a bench and watch. Nobody bothered me. It was peaceful. And I found the cafe. It was about 3 blocks from my apartment, down a side street. Small place, maybe 8 tables, run by an older Vietnamese man with gray hair. Clean. Quiet. Not a tourist trap. I walked past it twice before I got the courage to go in. A woman greeted me. Mid-40s maybe. Simple clothes, hair pulled back in a ponytail, no makeup. She smiled and said, "Hello, coffee?" I nodded. "Yes, coffee, please." She gestured to a table. I sat down. She came back a minute later with a menu, all in Vietnamese. I had no idea what anything was. "You want Vietnamese coffee?" she asked. Her English wasn't great, but it was there. "Sure. Yes, Vietnamese coffee." She nodded and went to make it. Came back with this small glass with condensed milk at the bottom and a little metal filter thing on top, coffee dripping through. I watched her, confused. She showed me how to stir it when the coffee finished dripping through. It was the best coffee I'd ever had. Sweet, strong, cold. I drank the whole thing in about 3 minutes. "Good?" she asked. "Very good," I said. She smiled. "You want food? Ban mai?" I had no idea what that was, but I said yes. She brought me this sandwich, French bread, some kind of meat, vegetables, cilantro, chili sauce. I took a bite and it was incredible. Fresh, flavorful. Real food. I came back the next morning, same table. She recognized me, smiled. "Coffee? Bon ami?" "Yes, please." This became my routine. Every morning at 8. By the third day, she had my coffee ready when I walked in. By the end of the week, she'd sit down when it wasn't busy and try to teach me Vietnamese words. "K-a phi," she'd say, pointing at the coffee. "K-a phi," I'd repeat. She'd laugh. "K-a phi," with K-a, ice. "K-a phi, da." Good. Café soi. She'd say it slow, iced coffee with milk. I learned her name was Huang. She worked there 6 days a week, had been there for years. She told me she had 2 kids, a daughter studying in Tien Ta, which I learned was a city in the Mekong Delta, and a son who was a mechanic here in the city. Her ex-husband had left about 10 years ago. She was alone. I told her about Linda. Don't know why. Maybe because she asked. She was the first person who'd really asked me anything about myself in years. Not just small talk, real questions. Where was I from? Did I have family? What brought me here? I told her about the mill, about taking care of Linda, about the kids moving away. She listened, didn't pity me, didn't judge, just listened. "Very sad," she said. "You're good, man. Take care of wife." Something about that simple kindness hit me. I hadn't realized how much I needed someone to just acknowledge it, to say I'd done something good. By the third week, I was spending an hour or two at the cafe every morning. Yuxing would sit with me during slow periods. We'd talk simple English, lots of gestures, some laughing at misunderstandings. She taught me how to order food properly, how to count money, basic phrases. She never asked for anything, never suggested I'd take her to dinner or buy her things. She'd just bring me coffee, sit and chat when she could, smile when I came in. One morning I realized I was looking forward to waking up. Not because of Vietnam or the heat or the adventure. Because of that hour at the cafe. Because someone was happy to see me walk through the door. For the first time since Linda died, I didn't wake up feeling like a ghost. By May, Hing and I had fallen into an easy rhythm. I'd show up at the cafe every morning. She'd have my coffee waiting. We'd talk when she had time between customers. Nothing heavy, just life stuff. She told me about her daughter Min, studying business in Sin Trin, about her son who worked on motorbikes, about her mother who still lived in the family house in the Delta. I learned she worked 6 days a week at the cafe, Sundays off. Most of what she made went straight to her family. Her mother's pension was almost nothing. Min needed money for school. The son was trying to start his own repair business. Hing was holding it all together. But here's the thing, she never asked me for anything, never hinted. Never did that thing I'd heard about where Vietnamese women would talk about problems and wait for you to offer solutions. She'd mention her mother needed medication and then change the subject. Talk about her kids and then ask me about mine. I told her about Sarah and Michael, how they'd moved away, started their own lives, how we talked maybe once a month, if that. She seemed genuinely sad about that. In Vietnam, families stay close, she said. Children take care of parents when old. Different in America, I said. Kids grow up, they leave. That's how it works. She shook her head like she couldn't understand it. The weeks went by. I got more comfortable in Vietnam, started recognizing vendors on my street, learned to cross the road without freezing in terror, figured out which street food was safe and which would wreck me for a day. Hyang helped with all of it. She'd write down phrases for me, teach me numbers so I wouldn't get ripped off at the market. In August, I finally worked up the nerve to ask her to dinner. Real dinner, not just me sitting at the cafe. I waited until a quiet afternoon, nobody else around. Hyang, I said. Would you want to have dinner with me sometime, outside of work? She looked genuinely surprised. Dinner? Yeah, like a date. She blushed. Actually blushed, I hadn't expected that. You sure? She asked. I'm sure. She smiled. Okay, yes. We went to a place in District 3 she knew. Local restaurant, not a tourist spot. Plastic chairs, fluorescent lights, menu all in Vietnamese. She ordered for both of us. Some kind of grilled pork with rice, vegetables, a soup with greens in it. She showed me how to use the chopsticks properly. I'd been doing it wrong for months. You hold like this, she said, repositioning my fingers. Not like that. You look like baby. I laughed. First real laugh in, I don't know how long. The food was incredible, simple, but fresh. Everything tasted like it was supposed to taste, if that makes sense. We ate and talked, and she told me about growing up in the Delta, about moving to the city when she got married, about her husband leaving her for a younger woman 10 years back. He say, I too old, she said, matter of fact. He fine girl, 25. Have baby with her. I get nothing. That's rough, I said. She shrugged. Vietnam man, they like young girl. When wife get old, they find new one. Normal here. Not right, though. No, she agreed. Not right, but normal. After that first dinner, we started seeing each other once or twice a week. She'd come to my apartment after work, cook dinner. Nothing fancy fried rice with vegetables, noodle soup, grilled fish. We'd eat sitting on the floor because I only had 2 chairs and the table was small. She'd help me with Vietnamese, I'd help her with English. She was trying to get a better job, maybe at a hotel where she could make more money. It felt normal, comfortable, like 2 people who'd been dealt rough hands just enjoying each other's company. In October, things at the cafe got bad. The owner had to cut everyone's hours. Tourism was down, locals weren't spending as much. Xing went from 6 days to 4, her pay cut by a third. She mentioned it one morning, casual. Boss say business not good, less hours for everyone. That's tough, I said. You going to be okay? I find other work maybe. Evening shift somewhere. Morning here. Evening somewhere else. I could see the stress on her face. She was trying to hide it, but I could see it. How much is the shortfall? I asked. What are you losing per month? Maybe 4 million dong, she said. About $200. I thought about it for maybe 2 seconds. Let me help you. No, no, she said immediately, shaking her head. You already pay for food, for coffee. I cannot take money. Shang, it's not a big deal. What am I going to do with it? Buy another lonely dinner. She had tears in her eyes. Too much. I cannot. Yes, you can. Think of it as a loan, if that makes you feel better. Pay me back when business picks up. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay. Thank you. I pay you back, I promise. I gave her 5 million dong, about $250 to cover her through the end of the year. She cried when I handed it to her, hugged me right there in the cafe. Here's what I want you to understand. It didn't feel like a transaction. It felt like helping someone who needed help. Someone who'd been kind to me when I had nobody. What's money sitting in a bank compared to helping a friend? She never asked me for money again that year. Not once. By December, we were spending most evenings together. I met her best friend Lan, who worked at a nail salon. Lan spoke better English, was protective of Hyun in that way good friends are. She asked me straight out what my intentions were. I'm not trying to take advantage, I told her. I just like spending time with her. Lan studied me for a minute, then nodded. Okay, you seem like good man. But you hurt her, I hurt you. I believed her. Christmas came. We didn't make a big deal out of it. She wasn't Christian, didn't really celebrate it, but we had dinner together, exchanged small gifts. I got her a nice scarf. She got me a Vietnamese English dictionary with tabs she'd already marked with useful phrases. Sitting in my apartment that night, her head on my shoulder while we watched some Vietnamese game show I didn't understand, I realized something. I had a partner again. Not Linda. Nobody could replace Linda. But someone who cared whether I ate, whether I was lonely, whether I was okay. For the first time since Linda died, I felt like I had a reason to wake up. I know what you're thinking. Old guy, Asian woman, money changing hands. I've heard the stories. Hell, I'd seen Jerry's Facebook posts. Seen the guys at expat bars with girls young enough to be their granddaughters. But this wasn't that. Home was my age, Had her own life, her own problems. She worked hard, took care of her family, asked for nothing. When she smiled at me, it felt real. I told myself this was different. Home was different. By spring of 2016, Hong was staying at my place most nights. It happened gradually. She'd cook dinner, we'd watch TV, it'd get late, and she'd say the XAM ride back to her place wasn't safe at night. So she'd stay. Then she started keeping clothes there. A toothbrush, her shampoo in the shower. We never had a conversation about it. It just happened. And it felt right. In June, she came to me crying. I'd never seen her like that. She sat at my little table with her face in her hands, shoulders shaking. "What's wrong?" I asked. "What happened?" It took her a minute to get the words out. Min, my daughter. She got accepted to university. Business program in CC. Whoa. Very good school. That's great, I said. Why are you crying? I cannot pay, she said. Tuition is 35 million dong. I saved for 2 years. I have only 10 million. I have to tell her no. She works so hard, studies so hard, and I have to tell her no. 35 million dong. I did the math in my head, about $1,500. How much do you need? I asked. She shook her head. I cannot ask you. Already you help me so much. This too much. Hung, how much do you need? 25 million. But I cannot. Is my problem, not yours. I thought about my kids. Sarah had her MBA. Michael had his engineering degree. I'd helped pay for both. Took out loans, worked overtime at the mill, did what fathers do. I'll cover it, I said. No, Clyde, I cannot. Yes, you can. Your daughter worked hard. She got in. She should go. What's money compared to her future? She cried harder. Came around the table and hugged me. I pay you back, I promise. I get better job, I pay you back. Don't worry about it, I said, seriously. What am I going to spend it on? I went to the bank the next day, pulled out 35 million dong in cash, gave it all to her. She tried to give me the 10 million she'd saved. I wouldn't take it. Keep it, I said. Min might need books, supplies, whatever. She looked at me like I'd given her the world. In September, Hyung's son Tuan needed help. His motorbike broke down, transmission or engine or something. I didn't really understand the mechanics. He was a mechanic himself, but couldn't afford the parts to fix his own bike. Without the bike, he couldn't get to work. How much? I asked. 18 million dong, Hung said. About $800. But I asked my brother, maybe he help. You already do so much. $800. Hell, I used to spend that on a weekend fishing trip back in Oregon. I got it, I said, Clyde. It's fine, really. I gave her the money that afternoon. Then in November, her mother got sick. Cataracts in both eyes, couldn't see to cook, couldn't leave the house. The surgery would fix it, but it wasn't covered by whatever insurance old people had in Vietnam. 50 million dong. About $2,200. Shong didn't even want to tell me. I found out because she was on the phone with her brother, arguing in Vietnamese. When I asked what was wrong, she tried to brush it off. Just family stuff. My mother, she getting old. Normal problems. I got the story out of her eventually. The cataracts, the surgery, the cost. I'll handle it, I said. No. Is too much. You already pay for men's school, for Tuan bike. I cannot keep taking from you. You're not taking, I'm giving. There's a difference. She cried again. Seemed like she was crying a lot that year. But they were good tears, I thought. Grateful tears. Looking back now, I can see how it must have looked from the outside. Guy meets woman, starts giving her money. Classic setup. But it didn't feel that way. Every time, it was a real problem. A real need. And every time, Hing was embarrassed to ask. She'd try to find other solutions first. Only came to me when she was desperate. And what was I supposed to do? Watch her daughter give up on college? Watch her son lose his job? Watch her mother go blind? I had the money. My kids didn't need it. They'd gotten their degrees, bought their houses, started their families. They were set. What was I going to do with 150 grand? Let it sit in a bank until I died? At least this way it was helping people. By early 2017, Huang had officially moved in. She quit the cafe. I told her she didn't have to, but she insisted. I take care of you now, she said. You take care of me, I take care of you. She cooked every meal, kept the apartment clean, handled all the negotiations with landlords, vendors, the guy who fixed the air conditioner when it broke. My Vietnamese was still terrible, and everyone tried to overcharge foreigners. Yang made sure I wasn't getting ripped off. I started teaching English part-time at a language center near Ben Thon Market. Not for the money, really. The pay was about 18 million dong a month, maybe 800 bucks. But I needed something to do, needed purpose. Plus it helped my Vietnamese, being around the language every day. The students loved me. I was patient, didn't mind repeating things. One kid told me I reminded him of his grandfather. I wasn't sure if that was a compliment, but I took it as one. In August of 2007, we took a trip to CNC to visit Chong's family. I'd heard about the Mekong Delta but never been. We took a bus from Ho Chi Minh City, about 4 hours through rice paddies and small towns. Her family's house was simple. Concrete walls, tin roof, 3 rooms total. Her mother was there, tiny woman with gray hair and a bent back. Her brother, his wife, their 2 kids. They'd set up a whole feast for us. Spring rolls, grilled fish, rice, soup, fruit. They treated me like I was already family. The brother kept refilling my beer, the kids wanted to practice their English, the mother held my hand and said things I couldn't understand, but Shang translated as blessings. After lunch, Shang walked me around the property, showed me where she grew up, where she used to help her mother plant rice, the river where she learned to swim. The house itself was in rough shape. The roof leaked, the bathroom was just a squat toilet and a bucket, the walls had cracks. Paint was peeling. Must be hard for your mother, I said. Living like this at her age. Chong nodded. Every year it get worse. But no money to fix. Maybe when Min graduate, get good job, she help. But 4 more years. What would it cost to fix it up properly? New roof, bathroom, paint, everything? She shrugged. Maybe 100 million dong? Maybe more. I don't know. Too much money. 100 million dong. About 4,500 bucks, I mentally calculated. I'd spent about 4,000 on Min's tuition, Tuan's bike, the surgery, still had about 150,000 left in savings. What if I paid for it? I said. She stopped walking. What? The renovations. What if I paid for them? Clyde, no, is too much, way too much. It's not that much. And look at this place. Your mother shouldn't be living like this. Let me help. I cannot ask you. You're not asking. I'm offering. She was quiet for a long time. We stood there by the river, watching water buffalo graze in the rice paddies. You sure? She finally said. I'm sure. She hugged me right there. You are a good man. Best man I ever know. We started the renovations in September. New tin roof, proper bathroom with a toilet and shower. Painted the whole house, fixed the cracks, put in new windows. Cost about 180 million dong all in, closer to $8,000. More than I'd estimated, but I didn't care. The work was done by December. When we went back for New Year's, the house looked completely different. Her mother cried when she saw it. The brother shook my hand for about 5 minutes straight. The whole family was there. Cousins I hadn't met, neighbors, everyone eating and drinking and celebrating. I sat on the new front porch with a beer, watching them all, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I felt useful. I felt like I mattered. I'd spent 8 years watching Linda fade, unable to fix anything. Couldn't stop the MS. Couldn't make her better. Just watched helplessly while she disappeared. But here? Here, I could fix things. I could solve problems. I could make people's lives better. I did the math in my head that night. Min's tuition, Twen's bike, the surgery, the house renovation, the monthly money I'd been giving Heng for her mother. About 320 million dong total. Around $14,000. Still had 145,000 in the bank. Plenty left. And I had my pension, my teaching income. I was fine. I had purpose again. I was building something. I mattered. Life settled into a comfortable rhythm in 2018. Every month, Hyung and I would take the bus down to Tien to visit her family. I'd started sending her mother 7 million dong a month, about 300 bucks. The old woman was living on practically nothing. It was the right thing to do. In March, Hyung mentioned she wanted her own motorbike. She was always having to borrow her friend's bike or take taxis, which ate into whatever money she had. How much is a good one? I asked. Maybe 40 million dong for Honda, she said. But too expensive. I just thinking. Maybe someday. 40 million dong. About $1,800. Let's get you one, I said. No, I just talking, not asking. I know you're not asking, but you need one. We'll go look this weekend. We bought her a red Honda Wave, not fancy, but reliable. She was thrilled. Rode it around the block about 10 times, just grinning. After that, she'd take me everywhere on the back. To the market, to my teaching job, out to restaurants. I'd wrap my arms around her waist and hold on while we wove through traffic. My teaching work was going well. The language center asked me to take on more students. I started doing private tutoring too, one-on-one with business people who needed English for work. I was making about 20 million dong a month now, close to $1,000. Combined with my pension, I was comfortable. My Vietnamese was getting pretty good, not fluent, but conversational. I could order food, haggle at the market, chat with the neighbors. Hung was proud of me. She'd correct my tones, teach me new words while we cooked dinner together. Everything seemed good, really good. But there were small things, little things that nagged at me. Hung was always on her phone. I mean always. In the mornings, at night, during dinner. She'd be texting someone, scrolling through something, and when I'd come near, she'd tilt the screen away. Not obviously, just enough that I couldn't see. "Who are you talking to?" I'd ask. "Just Lan," she'd say. Gossip about her boyfriend. Or, "Just my brother. He asked about money for his son's school." When I'd try to look at what she was reading, she'd lock the phone. "Privacy," she'd say, smiling. "You don't need to see girl talk." Fair enough, I guess. But it bothered me. Then there were the weekend trips. Every 6 weeks or so, she'd tell me she needed to go somewhere. Visit her cousin in Vieng Tao. Help her brother with something in the Delta. Go to Via Li Tuo with Lan for a girls' weekend. I'd offer to come along. She'd say no, it was boring family stuff, I wouldn't enjoy it, or that Lan wanted girl time. Always a reason I couldn't go. She'd leave Friday evening, come back Sunday night, never wanted to talk much about the trips, just tired, needed to rest. I told myself I was being paranoid. She had her own life, her own friends and family. I couldn't expect her to include me in everything. In September of 2018, Min needed more money for university. 80 million dong, about $3,500. Books, supplies, housing, something. Hing showed me an email in Vietnamese. I couldn't read much of it, but I saw numbers that looked right. "Of course," I said. "Whatever she needs." In January 2019, Tuan needed tools for his mechanic business. He wanted to open his own shop, needed proper equipment. 28 million dong, about $1,200. I gave it to her in cash. In April, her mother needed medication. Some kind of heart medicine, not covered by insurance. 14 million dong, about $600. I paid it without question. Looking back now, I can add it up. The monthly support for her mother, the motorbike, the ongoing expenses for Min and Tujin. By mid-2019, I put about 80 million dong into the relationship, around $35,000 total. But I still had about 300 million dong in savings, around 130,000. My teaching income covered rent, food, everything else. I was fine, more than fine. I was happy. I had Huang, I had my students. I had a life in Vietnam that felt full and meaningful. But the small things kept nagging. She was more distant sometimes, less affectionate. We used to sit together on the couch in the evenings, watch Vietnamese game shows, laugh at things I didn't understand. Now she'd sit across the room, on her phone. When I'd reach for her in bed, she'd say she was tired. Headache. Not feeling well. Always something. "Is everything okay?" I'd ask. "Yes, of course. Just tired from work." But she didn't work anymore. She'd quit the cafe 2 years ago. One night in June, she went to Vieng Tao again. Visiting her cousin, she said. She left Friday afternoon on her motorbike. She came back Sunday night around 11. I was watching TV, drinking a beer. I heard a motorbike pull up outside, louder than hers. Nicer engine. I looked out the window and saw her getting off the back of a black Honda PCX. Expensive bike, driven by a younger guy. He had his helmet on, so I couldn't see his face. She hugged him before she came inside. Not a friendly hug. A real hug. When she came through the door, I was sitting on the couch, trying to look casual. "Hey," I said. "How was the trip?" "Good. Tiring. The bus was delayed, took forever." "The bus?" "Yes, the bus to Ving Tao. Why?" "I thought I heard a motorbike outside." She looked at me for a second. "That was Lan's boyfriend. He gave me ride from bus station. My phone died. I couldn't call Xiom." "Lan's boyfriend?" "Yes. Why you asking so many questions? You don't trust me?" "No, I just... After everything I do for you, you don't trust me now?" "Hang, I'm not saying I don't trust you. I just saw you get off a nice bike and... You watching me? You spying now?" "I'm not spying." I looked out the window. She grabbed her bag and went into the bedroom. I heard her crying. I sat there feeling like an asshole. After a few minutes, I went in. She was lying on the bed, face in the pillow. "I'm sorry," I said. "I didn't mean to accuse you of anything." She turned over. Her eyes were red. "You don't trust me. After 3 years, you think I'm lying." "I don't think you're lying. I'm sorry. I was just confused about the bus and the motorbike. Lan's boyfriend. I told you." "Okay. I believe you." She pulled me down next to her. "I love you, Clyde. Only you. You know that, yes?" "Yeah, I know." "Don't be jealous, old man," she said, smiling a little. "Make you look ugly." I laughed, kissed her forehead. We went to sleep, but I didn't sleep. I lay there in the dark, listening to her breathe, staring at the ceiling. The story didn't quite add up. The bus to Veen Tau only took about 2 hours. She was gone all weekend. And her phone wasn't dead when she came in. I heard it buzzing with notifications as soon as she walked through the door. I told myself I was being paranoid. Jealous old man, like she said. What did I think? That she was seeing someone else? Why would she? I'd given her everything. Taken care of her, her family, her kids. We had a good life. She'd given me no real reason to doubt her. Had she? July and August felt wrong. I can't explain it better than that. The air in the apartment felt different. Xing was out more, always somewhere. Shopping, meeting Lan, helping her brother, always her phone in her hand, always that little tilt away when I got close. In mid-August, my daughter Sarah called. First time in maybe 4 months. We did the usual catching up. She told me about her kids, her job, some vacation they were planning. Then she said, "So Dad, how are you doing? Really doing? Really doing?" "I'm good. Really good." "And money? You being careful?" Something in her voice. "Why are you asking?" "I just worry about you over there. Alone. I know you're with that woman, Hing." "Right, Hing. I just want to make sure you're okay, that you're not, I don't know, being taken advantage of." I felt my jaw tighten. "I'm fine, Sarah. I'm happy. Maybe happier than I've been in years." "Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pry." We said goodbye, but the conversation stuck with me. The way she'd said that woman. The worry in her voice. I told myself she didn't understand. Couldn't understand. She had her comfortable life in Seattle, her husband, her kids. She couldn't know what it was like to be alone at 59 in a foreign country, to find someone who cared. But something about the call unsettled me. In September, Huang took another trip, Drosslick this time, up in the mountains. Cool weather, pine trees, waterfalls, tourist spot. "Lan invited me," she said. "Girls' trip, just 2 days. Can I come?" I asked. "Lan want just us. Girl talk, you know. You be bored." She left Friday morning on her motorbike. Came back Sunday evening, cold, distant. Barely spoke to me. Monday morning I left dishes in the sink after breakfast. I was running late for class. Figured I'd do them later. When I got home, she was furious. "You leave mess. I'm not your maid." I was going to clean them. I was just late. "You think I'm your servant? Cook for you, clean for you, everything for you, everything for you." "Hong, what the hell? It's dishes. I'll do them now." "You don't respect me." It escalated fast. We were shouting. She grabbed her bag, said she was staying at Lan's place, slammed the door. The whole building probably heard us. She came back the next day, apologized, said she was stressed, her mother wasn't well, she didn't mean it. I apologized too. We made up. But something had shifted. In October, Tuan had an accident, or supposedly had an accident. Hong showed me photos on her phone. Young guy, maybe 30, lying in a hospital bed with bandages on his arm and head. She said he'd been hit by a car on his motorbike, needed surgery. Medical bills were 65 million dong, about $2,800. I looked at the photo. Something felt off about it. The bandages looked almost staged. But what was I going to do? Accuse her of faking her son's accident? I gave her the money. Then came the night in early November. The night everything changed. Xing was in the shower. Her phone was on the table, buzzing, over and over. Bzzz, bzzz, bzzz. I walked over to silence it. Wasn't trying to snoop. Just wanted to stop the noise. The screen was unlocked. Messages in Vietnamese from someone saved as Anj Tushin with a heart emoji. I stared at it. Opened my translation app. started copying text. I love you, baby. When is the old man giving you more money? Can't wait until we open our cafe. My hands were shaking. I scrolled up. More messages. How much longer do you have to pretend? He's so stupid, believing everything. Be patient. Almost there. Photos of them together. Kissing. His hand on her waist. Her smiling at him the way she used to smile at me. I scrolled back further. Months of messages. Going back to early 2018. Maybe before. The shower turned off. I sat down at the table with her phone in front of me. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. She came out in a towel, hair wet, saw me sitting there, saw her phone. She went pale. Who is Tuan? I said. My voice was steady, surprisingly steady. And don't lie to me. She grabbed for the phone. I pulled it back. You went through my phone? Her voice was shrill, angry, not guilty, like I was the one in the wrong. Who is Tuan? Give me my phone. Answer the question. You have no right. Privacy. You spy on me. I opened the translation app, showed her the messages I'd copied. Read them out loud. When is the old man giving you more money? Can't wait until we open our cafe. He's so stupid, believing everything. She was crying now. Translation wrong. App's not accurate. You don't understand. I showed her the photos. Her and him. Kissing. She sat down. Put her face in her hands. Is he your son? I asked. Silence. Is Tushin your son, Joan? It's complicated, she whispered. Is he your son? No. The word hung in the air. Who is he? He's my. She couldn't say it. Your boyfriend. She nodded. Still crying. How long? It's complicated, Clyde. You don't understand. I care about you. I do. But Tushin, we have history. From before I meet you. We were together, then we break up, then he come back, and I... How long have you been seeing him while living with me? Since 2018. But Clyde, I really do care. Stop. I stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the street, motorbikes streaming past. Life just continuing like nothing had changed. I'll end it, she said behind me. I'll tell him it's over. I choose you, I promise. I turned around. You promise? Yes. I swear. No more Tuan, just you and me. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her. Okay, I said. She hugged me. I stood there with my arms at my sides. The next 2 weeks were tense. She was overly affectionate, cooking my favorite meals, touching my arm, asking if I wanted anything, overcompensating. I tried to let it go, tried to trust her. Then one afternoon in late November, I was teaching a class when my phone buzzed. Email from Canlo University. Automated message. Dear Mr. Clyde, we note that tuition remains unpaid for student Min Ungwin. Please remit payment to avoid late fees. I stared at it during a break, replied, I believe tuition was paid in full in 2016 and annually since. Please clarify what is owed. Response came an hour later. We have no record of a student named Min Nguyen enrolled at this university in the past 5 years. Please verify student ID or contact registrar for further assistance. I read it 3 times. No student named Min Nguyen. I left class early, went to a cafe, started Googling, called clinics in Sian The about cataract surgery for an elderly woman, gave Hung's mother's name that she'd told me. No records, no surgeries. I found the address Huang had given me for Tuan's mechanic shop. Took a grab bike there. It was a cafe. Under construction, but almost finished. Nice place. Modern. Through the window I could see Huang sitting at a table with the man from the photos, laughing, his hand covering hers. She didn't see me. I stood there on the sidewalk for maybe 5 minutes, watching them. Then I left. I went back to the apartment, packed her things methodically, clothes and bags, her makeup, her books, everything. Put it all by the door. I sat on the couch and waited. She came home around 11 p.m., Christmas Eve. Saw the bags. What is this? Get out, I said quietly. Clyde, Min doesn't go to university. Your mother never had cataract surgery. Tushin isn't your son. He's your boyfriend. And you've been using my money to open a cafe with him. Her face crumpled. I can explain. Get out. Please, Clyde, just listen. There's nothing to say. Take your things and go. She started crying, bargaining, saying she'd pay me back, saying she did care about me. It wasn't all fake. saying she'd made mistakes, but we could fix this. I just sat there, didn't say anything. Eventually, she grabbed the bags, stood at the door. "I'm sorry," she said. "Me too." The door closed. I heard her footsteps on the stairs, her motorbike starting outside, the engine fading away. I sat in the empty apartment, pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, started calculating. Min's tuition, 35 million dong. Fake, Tuan's motorbike, 18 million. Fake. The surgery, 50 million. Fake. The house renovation, 180 million. Who knows what that money actually went to? The monthly payments to her mother, 7 million dong times 18 months. Maybe real, maybe not. The motorbike, 40 million. Real, at least. The tools for 28 million. Probably went straight to the cafe. The medical bills, 65 million. Fake. All the smaller amounts, all the little emergencies, roughly 2 billion dong, about $85,000. Gone. I closed the app, opened a beer, sat there in the dark apartment on Christmas Eve, listening to karaoke bleeding through from somewhere, and tried to figure out how the hell I'd been so stupid. The first months of 2020 were dark, and then COVID hit and everything got darker. Vietnam went into lockdown. Couldn't leave the country even if I wanted to. Where would I go anyway? The house in Beaverton was long sold. My kids had their own lives, their own problems. I wasn't going to show up on Sarah's doorstep in Seattle and admit I'd blown 85 grand on a woman who was playing me the whole time. I moved to a cheaper place in District 7, 6.5 million dong a month, about 280. Small studio, no elevator, hot water only worked sometimes. But it was cheap, and I needed cheap. I did the math over and over. Started with 155,000 in savings. Spent 85 on Hing. Had about 70,000 left, maybe 80 if I was lucky. My pension covered the basics. Teaching English brought in another 18, 20 million dong a month. I could survive, but that was all I was doing, surviving. I kept teaching through the lockdowns, moved everything online, sat in my hot little room doing Zoom classes with Vietnamese students, their faces pixelated, connection cutting in and out. The language center cut my hours. Everyone's business was down. I heard through expat circles that Shrong Intuition had opened their cafe. District 3, nice location. Doing well, apparently, built with my money. She never contacted me, not once. No apology, no explanation, nothing, just gone. I spent most of 2020 and 2021 in a fog. Wake up, teach, eat rice and whatever cheap vegetables I could get at the market, drink. Bia Saigon became my companion most nights. Sit on my little balcony, watch the motorbike stream by below, work through a six-pack. I wasn't angry. That's the weird thing. I kept waiting to be angry, but I just felt empty. In late 2021, I met some other expats at a bar. Guys in their 50s and 60s, all with similar stories. Dave from Australia lost 50 grand to a woman in Da Nang. Colin from England lost 20 in Hanoi. American guy named Rick lost over 100,000 in Nha Trang. We'd sit there swapping stories like war veterans comparing scars. The common threads were all the same. Met a woman. She was different. Family needed help. Realized too late it was bullshit. You report it to the police? Dave asked me once. Report what? That I gave my girlfriend money and she lied about what it was for. That's not illegal. Fraud is illegal. Prove it. Prove she knew Min wasn't really in university. Prove the house renovation money went somewhere else. It's my word against hers. And I'm a foreigner who doesn't speak Vietnamese well enough to navigate the legal system. What am I going to do? He nodded. Bought another round. The thing about hitting bottom is, you don't realize you're there until you start climbing back up. 22 was climbing back up. Slowly. I started volunteering at an animal shelter. Dogs and cats mostly, strays that people brought in. I'd go twice a week, clean cages, walk dogs, help with feeding. The animals didn't care that I was an idiot who got scammed. They just wanted food and someone to pet them. Started cooking more. Vietnamese food, stuff I'd watched Hyung make. Turned out I was pretty decent at it. Tium, Bun Chu, even managed a halfway acceptable foodie. Kept me busy. Gave me something to focus on besides the hole in my bank account. By 2023, I'd built something small but real. Teaching gig was steady again. Language center liked me, gave me more hours. Students seemed to actually learn from me. I had my volunteer work, had a couple expat friends I'd grab a beer with now and then. I'm 63 now. Savings are down to about 50,000, maybe a bit more. I'll never retire properly. I'll be teaching English until I physically can't anymore. But I'm okay. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. I wasn't scammed, not really. I chose to believe what I wanted to believe. Every red flag I explained away because the alternative was too painful to face. The alternative was that I was just a lonely old man being used, that the woman I thought cared about me only cared about my wallet. Xing saw what I needed. Purpose. Family. Someone who needed me. And I paid for that feeling for 10 years. Was any of it real? Maybe some. Those first months at the cafe, maybe she did enjoy talking to me. Maybe she did think I was kind. But at some point, probably early on, she made a calculation. This guy has money. This guy is lonely. This guy will give me what I need if I give him what he needs. And I did, for years. Does it matter now whether any of it was real? Not really. If you're thinking about coming here, about finding love or starting over, I'm not going to tell you not to. Vietnam's a good place, beautiful country, friendly people, cheap cost of living. You can build a life here. But know this, love is love anywhere in the world. Real love doesn't care about your bank account. Real love doesn't come with a price tag. And when someone's affection only exists because your wallet does, that's not love, that's employment. And I paid Xing's salary for a decade. Am I still here? Yeah, because going back means admitting I wasted 10 years to people who wouldn't understand anyway. Sarah would be sympathetic, but I'd see the "I told you so" in her eyes. Michael would be kind, but distant. They'd wonder how their father could be so stupid. Here, at least, I'm just another expat with a story. There are guys at the bar with worse stories than mine, better stories too. But we're all here for the same reason. We're running from something, or towards something, or we just got stuck and decided to stay. I still go to that same cafe sometimes. Different waitress now. Older woman, maybe 60, doesn't speak much English. She pours me coffee, and I sit at a different table than I used to. Watch the motorbikes go by. Think about Linda sometimes. About the mill. About Portland in the rain. I don't think about Hee-hung much anymore. When I do, I don't hate her. Can't afford to hate her. Hate takes energy, and I don't have much left. I'm here. I'm surviving. Some days are good. Most days are just days. And there are worse things to be than an old guy in District 7 teaching English and drinking cheap beer. There are worse things to be. Clyde still teaches English in District 7. He's 65 now, lives simply, and says he doesn't regret coming to Vietnam, just how much he paid for the privilege. His story isn't unique. We've covered dozens like it on this channel, but it's a reminder that loneliness makes us vulnerable, and vulnerability is expensive. If you're considering a move like Clyde's, protect yourself. Keep your finances separate. Don't confuse gratitude for affection. And remember, if someone truly loves you, they'll love you whether you can pay their bills or not. Thanks for watching Inside Vietnam. Hit subscribe if these stories matter to you. We'll see you in the next one.